Okay, you guys, this is Pam. I'm back. So I've been trying to work these pieces and parts out. So let me tell you where I'm at. I did the Tyvek, remember that, and it's dry. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to sew the signatures onto this piece of cardboard. Now, what I did is I measured, remember I measured how thick my journal would be, and then I made my spine a little over 3 inches. So I cut a piece of cardboard, chipboard off of a Ritz box. I did 2 thicknesses because I feel like this is a pretty big book and I want to make sure it's strong. So I did 2, and I cut it 8 inches because that's what my signatures are, just a little bit less than that. So I have 5, I ended up with 5 signatures. And so what I did, I glued, so I think I may have, okay, so I'm still going to need to glue something here because what happened with my other one, you'll see the plain cardboard. So you want to cover it with something. So I tore out of a hymn book, a hymn for this. And before I put this in, I need to put a piece here and a piece here. And for the inside of my journal, I'm going to just do pieces of hymns for the paper that lines, the paper liner that goes inside. And so then I was trying to figure out a closure for this thing. And when I did my flea marketing the other day, one of the things I got was this package of, it says overall buckles. And so I thought, you know, in the spirit of junk journaling, we need to use our junk. So I thought about I think I'm going to try and use this. I hope it doesn't, I hope it works. But I've not used these before. But what it says is it's got a tack, and you're supposed to hammer that or push that tack into this, and that's for your suspender. And I thought, well, if it's strong enough to hold somebody's suspenders, it's surely strong enough to hold a journal. And so I took a piece of trim, just leftover jute trim, and you poke it in and wind it around and then clamp it shut. And I'll show you this. So like this pulls open and you just thread it around and then shut it. So I'm going to attempt to use that for my closure. So then the thing is, well, so if this is my journal and I want the closure to be about in the middle of it so that it comes out. So this comes over about that far. And so then if it comes down here, I don't want to just glue it onto the back of it. I am going to attempt to cut a slit in the paper and put this underneath the cover paper. And I cut this out. So what I did is I outlined my liner. Sorry, I outlined my cover and added a 1/2 inch all the way around. And then on the corners, I cut a little notch in it so that when it overlaps, it won't be too much paper. And hoping that I allowed enough for that. But anyway, so I'm going to, and I think I can get away with this because of the texture. The texture is so heavy on this paper. I'm hoping that it won't make like a big lump under it when I glue it on. So I'm just going to cut it here, glue it, and cut a slit in this cover so that this can poke through. And then when this glues over the top, I don't think you'll be able to tell that it's there. And if you do, it won't be much, and it will be on the back of the journal. So that's what I'm going to try to do. And I've got so much ink on this, it's coming out off on my hand. So hopefully it dries out completely overnight, and I can put a clear coat of, or rather a gloss coat of a Mod Podge on it. So then we back up here to this next thing I'm going to do, and that is I'm going to sew the signatures in. So what you need to do is you cut your piece of cardboard and you mark the center if you have an uneven number of signatures, and then I have 5, so that means I have to split this space in 2 spots, in 2 places, and over here 2 places. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines, and you'll see how I went over a little bit because you got to allow room for it to open up a little bit, the thickness of it. So what I did was I just eyeballed it. I could have used a ruler and divided it by all that, but I didn't. So I just eyeballed it and marked it. I took a piece of trash out of my wastebasket. I marked where the marks were, and then I moved it up here, and I made the marks up here so they're straight. And then when I took my ruler, if it didn't look completely straight, I just made it until I thought it looked straight and made lines. I tried not to mark all the way up because it's going to show, and that's pencil, so I can always erase it, but I just put it heavy in the middle for sure so I could see it. And so the next thing will be poking the holes for sewing these in. And so I'm going to line these up, and I'm going to sit them here, and I'm going to take a Sharpie and I'm going to make a mark, and let's see, I don't want it to be, and I need to look at this one here. This bottom one looks just a little bit crooked, so make sure you've got them lined up. And then I'm going to make a mark I don't want it to be exactly in the same spot that it was before, so I'm going to make it slightly off, and so it's going to be here. And then I'm going to make a little mark where I want it to be on these signatures. And then you want one hole this side, one hole this side, and you don't want it necessarily to be even. It's more like you want it to be not like how far from the edge do you want it. And I want to miss that hole, so I'm going to make it about here. And I'm just going to go down and mark all of them. And then mark this. I'm going to come down here and I'm going to mark this here. Make sure these line up here and then make my mark on the paper. And then I'm going to take a ruler, and I just want to make sure I get it the same so it doesn't drift off. Okay. Actually, well, I guess those lines I can't trust them exactly, but so between there and there, I can just eyeball it. And really, because that paper, I guess I glued it on straight. I guess I could just use these lines on the music sheet. So, okay, so that's where my holes will go. And so now I'm going to take my awl and this foam that Beverly told me to use and poke my holes. And so then you're going to do the figure 8 like we did when we stitched the signatures. And so I am going to, well, I guess I'll go ahead and do it and just speed it up. Do 2 times the length. Whoops. Be sure you check your signatures and make sure you get them all right side up before you sew them in. And make sure that you have them in the right order that you want them, if you have a certain order. So you thread it and get just a little tail. I'm going to do the string from the back. So take the first one. Okay, so okay, so that's tight. Go down through here. Catch the hole on the cardboard. Pull it tight. Tie it in a knot. We're done with that one. Only 4 more to go. Loosen pieces and parts. I think a lot of people fill their journals after the fact. I'm just gonna leave that in there. And I can see why, because things fall out. Okay, so make sure you've got this in the right spot. Thread your needle again. Oh, you know what? I haven't poked the holes in this one. Okay. Okay, so we've come up through here. We're going to go through the middle. Down. And that hole. And then tighten it all back up. Tie it in a knot. Up close to that middle part. I don't know why that matters really. It doesn't matter. You could tie it wherever you want, I think. And it looks like I missed a little bit. And it doesn't matter as long as it's tight. Okay, so there's 2. And then we're going to do the third one. So you're going to come through the bottom middle hole. Through this middle hole. Okay. Oh wait, no. 2 more left to go, sorry. Okay. And see that? I've got the string caught, got the string sewn there. So I'm just going to go with it. Make sure I've got everything tight. I do. Okay. All right. Well, that was a little bit of a hair-raising ride. I'm going to fast forward so you won't know what I'm saying, but I had a couple of snafus. On one, I did catch the thread with the needle, and you can see it does make it a little bit tricky, but I mean, it still works as long as you get them good and tight. And if you pull your thread through, you can just rethread your needle and pull it back where you need it to be. So I think this is ready now to glue into the spine when I'm ready for that. So anyway, that's that.